What do you got, bud?
Somewhat.
All right. I'm gonna to have a weird zigzag over here. Gwent was my first appointment of the day. And if you didn't see the picture, they had a giant Gwent table in there, like just huge. I think it was probably almost the size of this desk. That had the carvings for all of the rows and everything. But yeah, they started off talking about how it was really like a fan demand thing that they couldn't not make this game because they just kept getting emails about it. People wanted a standalone Gwent, so the guys that worked on the mini games started figuring out, okay, we gotta retool this, we gotta rebalance this, we gotta do all this stuff. One of the things that really surprised me, there is a campaign. They mentioned this, but it's not just, oh, let's just have a series of card battles with different characters. Like, this campaign has a world map.
Whoa!
You walk around on like basically what looks like a Secret of Mana type of map. And so you have like a little like a breadcrumb trail telling you where to go to your next objective. But along the way, you can go examine these ruins and you can see what's in there. And then there are dialogue choices, and you can like have good options, or you can fail, or you can like come across a boss battle.
So wait, someone is just chilling in a cave and challenges you to a game of Gwent.
No. Here's the crazy little weird part. Like the Gwent is all contextualized as your army, as your party.
That's even better.
This is so cool.
So you have these guys in your party.
Oh my god.
And then like, you know, when you get a new card, it's like you've recruited a new party member.
So cool. Oh my gosh. It like they could have easily just put Gwent
overachieving.
This has me pumped.
And here's one of the things they said. They said 10 hours per campaign. Meaning that this is probably not going to be, like, they're going to add campaigns later on as well, probably.
Those guys are nuts.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts.
Oh, man.
But I saw, like, in the ruins, the situation they did, there was like a boss that was like a unique card, like that boss card was different than anything in the normal decks. There's just a lot of stuff. And I asked some people later about, because I was curious about, like, okay, because one of the big things with Gwent in The Witcher 3 is that it's a collectible card game, and like your deck is based on your collection and what you've decided to put into your deck. And so, like, I want to know how, like, the collection works in this. And so there are like multiple factors that play into your collection. One of them is that you do gain cards through the campaign, and those are part of your deck when you play multiplayer. The other thing is a little bit more standard when you play multiplayer matches. I think they say like every day, like if you play 3 matches, then you'll get like a booster pack. And then if you keep playing, and then there's like a diminishing returns. Like if you maybe like you play 6 and then you get a second pack or whatever, and then the optional purchases to get more. I didn't go deeply enough to find out whether the campaign cards are unique to the campaign, if that's the only way to get them or not, but I would suspect that they probably are.
The Hearthstone basic cards, like going through that to get those, and then
the other thing is like everything all around is really, like, they've changed the art on everything. All the art on the cards has been redone. The cutscenes and stuff in the campaign are done in kind of that comic style that's in, like, you know, when you load up a game and it has those comic scenes, that's the style that the game's presented in. And then they mentioned that there are premium cards, and they showed one, and the premium cards actually animate, and there's a lot more going on there. And then they talked about how they retooled a lot of different things, and they only have 4 decks. So they pulled the Nilfgaard deck, and they have Skellige, and the monster deck, and Scoia'tael, and Temeria, and each one of those focuses on different things. So like they talked about, like the monsters is more weather focused and all of that.
Are the rules the same Bloodworth.
The basic rules are the same. The way, like, there's not a mana system added on or anything like that. It's still
Good.
very much,
Cool.
you know, like the point values and the things that the cards do are the meat of the game. But there are a lot of ways that they've changed things up. And what was cool is we actually got to sit down and play against each other. And it wasn't like, oh, you get one session. No, it's like we could play. Like I got in like 3 matches against a girl, and
Context.
Ben is like had this look on his face. I got 3 matches against the girl. Like,
One-on-one duel? Bloodworth dueling?
Yeah, but it's like it's so
Who
different that alone, like trying to figure out, like, get into somebody's head and
Yeah, that's
and
true.
do that.
That's
is
the
a-
first documented PvP Gwent right
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
that I've ever heard. This is awesome.
So that's one thing, and trying to like sort out, okay, like how many because they. Like I'm split on this, but one thing that they don't do is they don't just give you a number to tell you how many cards they have. Like would have to actually sit there and count the cards, and because that's part of like the mind games is like, okay, do I try to bait them into putting out more cards
Spies OP.
or not? Yeah. Well,
Spies
no.
OP.
Here's the thing, spies have changed.
Okay, good.
Spies have changed.
Good.
Spies
This is
have
good.
changed.
Tell me about this. Bloodworth.
So the thing with spies is every spy that I saw was a little bit unique, a little bit different. And most of the spies actually had really high damage numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of the spies in Witcher 3,
0, 1, 4.
there's a hero that's a 0,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of funny. And then there's like 1s and 2s and 4s.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of these spies I had were like an 8.
Cool.
But then they had like these other effects. So like they would do 8 damage, but then they would like do -2 to everybody else that was on that row. So if you played it at the right time, it would work out more in your favor. Rather than what I would always do with the spy in Witcher 3 is like I just want more cards. Just toss it down first round. Just put all the spies out there as soon as I can. And now I like think a little bit more. The other thing with the spies is that they don't all just give you 2 more cards.
Good.
They have different effects. So
Perfect.
I had one that it gave me 2 cards, but then it also gave my opponent 1 card.
Perfect.
So like
This is
it kind of
beautiful.
creates a little balance.
Yeah,
It really
because with, like Gwent in Even Blood and Wine, the new Skellige deck is more creative than the other standard decks. I feel like because there's like transformations and all this, but so like nearly every game comes down to, all right, let me get a couple spies in my deck, throw them over to them. They play like a couple cards in between. I'm just loading up on them, and then I throw the first round. I have like 13 cards to 6, and then I just win both rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leader cards have a lot of different effects. Like they actually, some of the leader cards will actually pull in certain unit cards. There was the other kind of game changing thing that's like very immediately obvious. Like you know Monster Deck, right? Like Monster Deck
Summon
is
everyone.
feels super OP because you drop a card down and then it summons all these other cards even if they're not in your hand. And but then the counter to that was always, okay, well
Blizzard.
if I'm against monsters, I'll just put Frost down and I'll just annihilate them. Now there are wild hunts in the monster cards that rather than getting reduced, they get doubled from Frost.
Whoa.
So now you
There's
have
a lot more.
you have to really
stuff,
think
lot
about the
more,
strategy a lot differently.
mechanics going on.
There are cards that I got that they would summon. So you would drop this guy down, and then he would summon. I'm trying to remember. I think some of them summon when they leave the table and they go into your graveyard. But I can't remember specifically. But one would summon a Leviathan. And the Leviathan was kind of like I don't know exactly what it was doing because it felt like it was reducing some cards but then boosting others at certain points. It was sort of like a wild card kind of thing, and it would move between rows on each turn. So like when it was on the close combat row, it would be working out in my favor, but then it would move to the ranged row and it would actually like be not working, be on my opponent's favor. So it's like it's like this timing of like when do I actually like lay down the card that's going to end this round because this dynamic is happening. And there was also there was a dragon card in which you could use it to either scorch, and scorch takes out whatever the highest level cards, even if they're on your own side, or you could use it as the horn. So you choose. It's weird. It's like you have the option when you put that card down.
Cool.
And then let me see if there's anything else. But one thing that I was a little disappointed in, because this was the new mechanic on the Skellige deck, was the mushrooms.
Love it.
Where they had the transformation.
Turn your minions into bears.
But the thing is here, like, the mushrooms weren't that unique, and I left because CD Projekt always has these feedback forms, so I left this note because I'm like, I don't understand why you did this, because now, like, the mushrooms are just like a +4 to whoever. Like, they didn't do the transformation thing. So that was one of the weird little things.
Cool.
But yeah, I had fun. I signed up for the beta, which I guess is coming in September to Xbox and PC.
I feel like they should let you into the beta, Blood, before anyone else in the world. Blood should be beta participant number 1.
Quality assurance.
Right. Like
Bloodworth.
You should be in the credits.
Yeah.
You should have to beat Blood to get into the beta.
But it was really the thing that was great though is I won 2 out of the 3 matches. But it was so, like, going against another person was so intense because it felt so neck and neck. Like, even when I'd get ahead, then she would start catching up to me. I was like, oh man, like, I'm running out of cards.
This is why I got burnt out on Gwent in the main game. It's not because it wasn't good. It's not because I didn't like the mechanics, but it was because I felt like I was just manipulating AI.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was trying to figure out what the computer was programmed to do, rather than thinking about, like, no, how do I make the best out of a poor situation? How do I actually truly bluff? And, like, what you're saying, like, the edge of your seat, like, what is going to happen because I have a limited amount of cards and because it's neck and neck, like, oh, that's so exciting to me.
Yeah.
This is going to be...
The world map gets me so excited. That's so cool.
And the fact that they don't cheese it up. Like,
Yeah.
I like Hearthstone, but it's always done in this, like, we're just having fun. It's cool. Like, adding the cards are party members and you're taking them to war? That's incredible.
I don't want to be a buzzkill.
Okay.
Ben Moore, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Will the meta reveal itself?
The meta. Huber, that is an excellent question.
Can it reveal itself in The Witcher
But here's
Gwent?
Here's the difference between Gwent and other games is, even if the meta comes and people figure, like, oh, this is clearly the best deck, it's super overpowered, and multiplayer doesn't get to be fun, at least I get to experience a 10-hour campaign. You know what I mean?
The campaign,
like,
exactly.
Like, there's something to fall back on here. I don't just have to deal with the meta. I get to experience a story. I get to, like, collect cards by beating bosses that have unique mechanics. Cool. So even if the meta is at its worst, there's, like, so much there to redeem itself.
Good save. Good save.
Yeah.
They talk about the pricing of this game. Is it full-blown retail?
This is free to play.
Okay.
Free to play.
How much are packs?
So like Hearthstone.
I don't know. That information might be out there. It might not even be determined yet.
Similar probably to Hearthstone, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean the one thing
expensive.
with CD Projekt is anything that annoys players tends to annoy them.
Yeah.
So I think they're
God.
going to be very, judicial in how they handle pricing on
They have
things.
so much goodwill. Like, seriously. Best in the biz. Just like, oh, you guys want Gwent? All right, sure. We'll make a free-to-play Gwent game for you.